I am legitimately torn. Your guys' opinion on something. I'm setting up this shot and Megan walks by and says,
"Another day, another pancake shot."
But in reality, this is what I do every single Saturday. So are you guys sick of seeing the best tasting protein pancakes in the entire world, the pea, science, cinnamon roll pancakes? Let me know. Don't walk away now that I've got these beautiful pancakes in this shot and you want to talk about how I overdo my pancakes. See, she's hating. She's hating. Okay, I need your help. And if you're new here, welcome to episode 2 of the custom build, where we are documenting the process of building a new house in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I genuinely need some assistance over a very large decision. So if you've ever had experience building a pool, or if you happen to be a pool builder in Raleigh, North Carolina, get a hold of me. But we are torn over whether to do a pool during the build or not. So let me explain my thought process, talk about the pros and the cons and why I am so conflicted. Now, firstly, if money is no object, then of course this decision becomes much easier, although I still think there's some things to be concerned about with having a pool, money aside, but they are very, very expensive. I'm gonna have Greg show you some of these pictures and you're not gonna be blown away at all. These are very basic pools. They are gunite pools with a little bit of travertine. It's nothing crazy, but even so, these would be upwards of $125,000 to $130,000. Now, some people do say go for a linered pool. Yes, you will have to replace it, but ultimately you could replace it 20 times before you have to pay for a gunite pool. But one, I don't even know that my builder would let us. They do have a final say in who we select, but also it just seems the best long-term solution is gunite from what I can see. But again, I want to know your feedback. So anytime you're talking about that kind of money, especially when we're kind of already over what I wanted to spend on the house without the pool, that is a big chunk of change. And not to mention, of course, the variable costs that come along with the pool, the chemicals, the increased insurance, and all that. Now, even outside of the money, if you don't know, I am an extremely safety conscious person, and I have 2 young children. And as most people know, pools are not safe. Yes, I would put a fence around it. Yes, I would put an alarm. Yes, I would do all the things. But I have 2 boys, okay? If you don't know, boys are crazy, and there are so many incidents every year. And yes, we would be hyper vigilant, but it's just one more thing to be worried about. Now, at the point where the house would be built, my oldest would be almost 5, and then my youngest would be, a little bit over 2. So they would be getting to that age where they could swim. Yes, we would get them the lessons. We would do all the things, okay? But it doesn't negate the fact that pools are dangerous. So then it becomes a conversation about risk mitigation. So let me show you some potential placements and my rationale. Option 1 is what I feel is the safest because it would be tucked away. We would put a perimeter fence around it. Yes, it's an eyesore. It's better than a very tragic incident. But I think that way, at least it leaves the whole yard open. It doesn't get in the way of whatever else they want to do in the yard. And it allows us to more easily safeguard the pool. The other option would be, I think, more aesthetically pleasing if we put it kind of center, option 2 that you see here on the screen. But we could put a fence around it. We would, more than likely. Well, we would. But then you have this big body of water in the center of your yard. Every time you run off of the back, the outdoor living, it just seems a little bit more risky and tempting to have it there. Although I think long term, it does make more sense. Now, ultimately, I don't want a pool. I don't like to swim. But for the kids, I just think it's a good way to get them outside, to exercise, to always have something to do. I live in North Carolina. It's always hot. What else do you do for those 4 months a year? And really, when I think long term, I want to be the house that everyone is at. I want to be watching my kids. I am the helicopter parent. I am not trying to deny that at all. Build it and they will come. And I just think of myself as a kid. I loved it. Nothing would have made me happier than to walk out in my backyard, to have a pool, to have my friends over. I just think about the memories that could potentially be created and how do you put a price on that? But then again, they might not even like it. Now, I think that's very rare. I don't know any kids that don't like pools, but I just think it could potentially be something special. And the other thing that I cannot overlook is the convenience and potential cost savings of doing it during the build. Because if I wait, of course, the pool's just gonna get more expensive. They go up, so they say like 5% a quarter, which is nuts. But also, if you do it after the house is built, you gotta think they gotta tear out your fence, they gotta tear out your landscaping, your house is gonna be a construction zone for months and months and months. And it costs them more to do it, of course, because they could have done it while everything was being built and have access to all the lines and whatever. So it is kind of the perfect time to do it during the build. If my kids were older, that would be a much easier decision. I just don't know. I am legitimately torn. So I would appreciate your thoughts, your experiences, your cautionary tales, your amazing stories that you have because you had the pool, whatever it is. Please help me in this decision. Now, as far as where are we at in the process right now, we get an update every Friday. They are still designing the septic, they say, so where to put the septic. It's gonna go in the front yard, so the placement for the pool could be potentially anywhere out back, which is great. And then we're still working on the permits. In Wake County, from what I understand, permitting is a little challenging, so it might take a few weeks, maybe even a few months. So for this week, we're gonna be having smash burgers, chicken thighs. We got the chicken breast over here, and I cannot recommend enough. Do your meal prep during the weekend when you're already gonna be out here anyway. Like, we're gonna have steaks for dinner tonight, so I just throw more on this grill. I also fire up this grill, which is obviously really nice to have two grills, but ultimately, if you work a busy corporate job, this is such a lifesaver, especially when you start to have kids. I mean, I cannot recommend it enough. And it's a new place. You know, I have a little bit of area right here for the grills. I'll have probably a space about twice this size just for the grilling, and it will be covered, thankfully. And then connected to it a little bit further down will be like outdoor living. So it's gonna be a really nice setup, but I'm not doing the full-blown outdoor kitchen just yet because, again, budget. So we've got steaks for tonight, chicken breast, chicken thighs, smashed burgers for the week, and of course I will always have about 3 to 4 pounds of ground beef, and that's really the bulk of the diet. Well, happy Father's Day, everyone. Griffin says happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Megan got me the most precious little video. I'm gonna have Greg put a little snippet right here. Of course, the copyright, you know, you can't do too much, but it was amazing. Being a dad is just the best. So we're gonna be making a little brunch here. We're gonna be making some breakfast tacos. When I lived in Austin, Texas, Megan and I fell in love with a place called Veracruz All Natural. It is the best breakfast tacos in the entire world. I don't think these are gonna be quite on that level, but we're gonna whip them up. Jeez. There is nothing better than bacon on the griddle. Oh my goodness, buddy, you're gonna knock my camera over, crazy. There is nothing better than bacon on the griddle. So we're gonna make the bacon. This little taco holder, I've actually never even used, but it looks pretty official. Eggs, it's just the ultimate breakfast. Is there anything better than eggs and bacon grease? I don't think so. All right, buddy, gotta move the egg quick. Don't want it to burn. And there we have some beautiful breakfast tacos. And I will say, definitely pick one of these things up. That was clutch. It is already over 90 degrees. It is scorching hot. Griffin is out playing in his little water table, having the time of his life. Let me know. Should we do the pool? Please help.